Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of our Crystal Palace Summer Career Mode here on EAFC 24. We're returning today off the back of the previous episode where we secured Champions League football after a second placed finish in the Premier League, and of course our attention turning to the UEFA Europa League, where we will take on European giants Real Madrid in the final. We're going to be huge underdogs for this, but I don't think we've got anything else to do before jumping into it. So let's dive straight in and see if we can somehow pull off a big shock and beat Real Madrid in the Europa League final to lift the trophy. Come on, you Eagles. I mean, you would have seen the lineups pre-game, and as expected, the Real Madrid team is just absolutely incredible. Bellingham, Vinicius, Rodrigo. I just don't know how we're meant to compete with that little old Crystal Palace taking on the mighty Real Madrid. But stranger things have happened, I think. I'm not sure, but you know, you've got to go into these things believing that you can get the job done. And, well, that's a great little move here. Kadioglu for Eze round the back and just couldn't quite get his head on it. Positive start from the Eagles, but I think it's going to be a long old night. Vinicius to Rodrigo, Bellingham, back to Rodrigo. I just don't know how I'm going to stop these guys, man. Vinicius denied by Dean Henderson. And first corner of the game for Real Madrid. We're just going to have to sit in and try and play on the break. But, it's Vinicius with a really clever effort, and Dean Henderson tips it over the top. We're going to need Dean to have a really solid game here as the corner comes in, and he does get enough on that, and Eze heads clear. Clinging on a little bit already, just 12 minutes into the final. Tarek Mitchell can bring it clear. And Freuler, who still has such good legs in that midfield. Eze up against Trent. Absolutely skins him with the step over. Sule and Kadioglu in space. Kadioglu! Oh my goodness! Ferdy Kadioglu against the run of play gives Crystal Palace the lead in the final against Real Madrid. I did not think I would be saying that. Just opens up for him. He's got so much space. And it's such a good finish on the so-called weaker left foot. What a signing this man has been. And Kadioglu bends us into the lead here. Still a long old way to go, though. And I'm sure, if anything, we've just poked the bear and Real Madrid will wake up. But we've done all right. We've not really let them have any clear-cut opportunities yet. Vinicius Jr. is causing us a few issues, but nothing clear-cut yet, and we've got to keep it that way. And we do have pace to hit them on the break, but I expect it's going to be all Real Madrid pressure, and that's a fantastic stop by Dean. Lerman's done well to hold up Bellingham, but Jude finds Toni Kroos, and it's the German again. Vinicius ahead of him. Oh, it's lovely build-up. It's a brilliant Real Madrid goal. Toni Kroos and Vinicius and Rodrigo all involved, and that is just the quality that Real Madrid have. Look at this. This is lovely. Kroos into Vinicius, one touch back to him, and then the first time ball by the German into Rodrigo. You just cannot defend against that. Kadioglu, I do think he's our most dangerous threat down this right hand side because no one's coming back with him, and Robertson's being left to Sule. Oh my goodness. Robertson being left 2v1, and one of those two is this man Matthias Sule. Comes in field, as we've seen him do so often this season, looks to bend it, and it crashes off the crossbar and behind for the goal kick. So close to restoring our lead. Bellingham and Kroos back to Jude, through the gap to Luka Modric, and he puts it over the top. Big chance for the Croatian to put Real Madrid in front. And he's hooked by Carlo Ancelotti. Freuler dispossessed. Trouble. Big trouble. Jude still has it. Through the gap. Oh, and Brahim Diaz so close. Sule waiting for the run of Kadioglu. And 30 swings the cross in. He's a! Oh my goodness, I was not expecting that. I thought Trent was going to win the header at the back post. And Eberechi Eze gets his head on it and puts Crystal Palace into the lead. Where on earth did that come from? Trent looks favourite, missed it. Courtois couldn't keep it out. And the Englishman with a huge goal for Crystal Palace. Then he goes short with the corner. Brahim Diaz, dangerous ball, flicked on and brilliantly defended at the back post. And now Eze. And Mateta's with him. Mateta in behind. Jean-Philippe Mateta couldn't get his shot away as the Real Madrid bodies came flying back. But you can stay with me for the final few moments here, as this is pretty much it. Latazza drifts it out to Rodrigo. No. Oh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And from one end, Mateta couldn't get his strike away. And Ballard just loses him as he goes into the box. Brilliant by Rodrigo. And the diving header's right in the corner. No chance for Dean. And we look as if we're heading for extra time. Oh man, I really cannot believe that. I just started to dream, but this is Real Madrid in Europe. Doesn't matter if it's the Europa League or not. Real Madrid always find a way. And they level it up with practically the last kick of the game, and we're heading for an extra 30. I've made some changes as well, including Odson Edouard, who was labelled Mr. Thursday night, at least in the group stages. He did slow down a bit in the knockouts, but still a great source of goals and a great option off the bench. As Will Hughes slides through Eze. No one in the middle. Eze looks to bend one, and it's comfortable enough for Thibaut Courtois. Well, second half of extra time underway here, and as you quite often see in these 30-minute extra time periods, no real chances, and we could potentially be set for a penalty shootout. And that's just a lottery. Anything can happen then, but we've got to get there first, of course. Real Madrid have been on top, and they're just sort of pushing and probing and seeing if they can find an opening. As Bellingham, no, it's heartbreak. Dan Ballard, I don't know what happened there, but he just seemed to lose the ball. And of course it's Jude Bellingham against English opposition, and that might be us out for the count. Brahim does well. Ballard and I think Pacho run into each other, and Jude Bellingham has all the time in the world to drill home. I tell you what, it's been a cracking final, but it does look as if Real Madrid are going to go on to win it. Well, I do think that's going to do it, unless we can come up with the late goal this time. You can stay with me for the final few moments. As Zaha, Edouard! We have done it! Real Madrid did it in 90. Crystal Palace in the 120th. Odson Edouard off the bench. Mr. Midweek. Looks as if he may have just sent us to penalties. Real Madrid sleeping from the throw-in. Zaha to the byline. And Edouard with the finish. That is surely going to do it this time. And I think we are finally going to be set for a penalty shootout. What an absolutely crazy final. And there it is. We are going to the shootout. That is absolutely mad. One of the best finals that I've played in the whole of FC24. And Real Madrid and Crystal Palace heading to a penalty shootout. Who is going to be the hero? I mean, you can stay with me for the whole shootout. I'm actually going to have Eze step up first because I trust him. We've got some good penalty takers, to be fair. Edouard can take them. Zaha, Hughes. I trust Kadioglu as well. Milan and the captain Gerhi. Yeah, we've got like 6 or 7 really decent takers. So let's jump into this then. Real Madrid against Palace. Penalty shootouts for the Europa League. Eze is up first. And Eze sends Courtois the wrong way. And that's the perfect start for Crystal Palace. Rodrigo, I think, is going the same way he is. but it's right in the corner and Dean can't get there. I usually stick with it if it's worked. I'll go to the same corner. Kamada, and it does work. Sends Courtois the wrong way again. Jude Bellingham, I think he's changing. Jude Bellingham denied by Dean. Englishman on Englishman, and now Edouard has the chance to give us the advantage. Odds-on, Edouard sends Courtois the wrong way. Arda Güler brought on for the penalties. Oh, it's a good pen. Dean went the right way, but couldn't get there. Zaha. I'm going back to my top left. Wilfried Zaha, this time denied by Thibaut Courtois. Camavinga also denied. And this is it. Crystal Palace have the chance to win it. It's Will Hughes, potentially his last game for the club. And Will Hughes denied, no. Courtois makes the stop. And Latasa has the chance to take it to sudden death. Latasa, oh, goes the right way, Dean. And he can't get there. Kadioglu up next. Had a great game in the 90 minutes. Kadioglu sends Thibaut Courtois the wrong way. Advantage Palace. Can Dean make the save? It's Eder Militao. The Brazilian. Militao. Oh. Again, Dean guesses right but can't get there. Milan up next. Van Ewijk scores and sends Courtois the wrong way again. Pressure over to Real Madrid. Brahim Diaz. Brahim sends Dean the wrong way. This penalty shootout sums up the final. Absolutely crazy. It's the captain, Mark Guehi. A lot of power on that. Guehi, yes. Slams it into the top corner, and again it's on Real Madrid, and it's Trent Alexander-Arnold, who scored in that Euro shootout for England and does so for Real Madrid, right in the top bins. Dan Ballard up next. And Ballard, top right. Oh, it's a great pen as Courtois can't get close to any of these. Now Andy Robertson, both former Liverpool fullbacks stepping up, and Robertson straight down the middle. 7 apiece on the penalties. And William Pacho also goes into the top corner. We're nearly at the goalkeepers. This is insane. This is like the Ajax shootout in the Champions League the other day. I think it went 14 deep for each side. Marquinhos denied. Dean Henderson finally guesses the right way. And Real Madrid are beaten in Europe. Crystal Palace winners of the Europa League. What a crazy final. That is absolutely incredible. One of the maddest games of FC I've ever played. Marquinhos, it's a poor penalty, but Dean had to guess right. And he gets down and makes the stop. And the Crystal Palace travelling supporters going absolutely mad in the stands. What a final. It was late goals. There was drama. There was a shootout. Everything you'd want. And Crystal Palace win their first European honour. And it's the UEFA Europa League beating giants Real Madrid in the final. Oh my goodness, man. What a performance. And what a team it is that we've built here at Selhurst Park. Oh, that is absolutely crazy. And Mark Guehi will be presented with the trophy. Our captain, our leader, signed from Chelsea, and he's become a hero at Crystal Palace, and he'll lift the Europa League trophy for the Eagles as we win our first piece of silverware with the club. And it comes in Europe. What a time to get it. Absolute scenes. And just a ridiculous, ridiculous final. I need to catch a breath, man. That was incredible. Wow, man. I mean, that was just absolutely nuts. I don't even think I can put into words how mad that was. That was such an enjoyable game to play. 3-3, extra time and penalties, and then 8-7 on penalties. That was absolutely mad. Right, I need to compose myself to do a full season roundup here. So I think we'll start with the other European competition. So the Europa Conference League. Wow, another cracker, was won by Lille of France, beating Chelsea 2-2 in full time and after extra time, and Lille win it 7-6 on pens. That is absolutely mad. I really wanted to be in the Conference League this year, but we'll have to settle for the Europa League. And the Champions League this year was won by Borussia Dortmund. That's nice to see. Not a team that you see winning it very often. As we have a look at their run here, they beat Inter Milan, PSG, Atletico Madrid, and then Juventus in the final. As for the domestic cups, the Carabao Cup was won by Liverpool, beating Manchester City in the final. We, of course, made it to the quarters before losing to Spurs. Similarly to the FA Cup as well, where we were knocked out by the eventual winners, Arsenal, who beat Everton in the final. Yeah, it was the quarterfinals once again, where we faced a North London side and ended up going out, but I wasn't really too surprised at either of those. And as for the Premier League, we had a full look at the end of the previous episode, but here is a full rundown of the Premier League table for you. And as always, we'll take a look at some of the other sides. Starting with the Championship, it's Nottingham Forest and Luton returning to the Premier League in the automatic spots, with Sheffield United, the Blades, West Brom, Preston and Southampton battling it out in the playoffs. Ligue 1 this season was won by Paris Saint-Germain. Parity restored in France after AS Monaco pipped them to it last year. They themselves finished in 4th this campaign, but it is PSG once again on top in France. The Bundesliga was won by Borussia Dortmund. Fantastic season for them. A league and European double. Can't check the DFB Pokal, of course. Could have been a treble, but pipping Bayern Munich to the title by 6 points. As for in Italy, it was quite a tight title race, and Napoli managed to win it. Antonio Conte's side now beating Milan to the title by just 2 points. Very, very close in Italy, with Inter Milan having a poor season down in 7th. The Eredivisie this year was won by PSV. Ajax, who of course we knocked out in the Europa League semi-finals, finishing 7 points further back in 3rd place. One of my favourite leagues to check, the Liga Portugal. Was it Braga? No, it wasn't. Down in 4th place, it was Sporting this season who went on to win the Liga Portugal. The Saudi Pro League was won by Al Hilal. They do seem to be the team that win it most seasons. Al Nassr finishing in 3rd. Obviously, I'm sure Cristiano Ronaldo has retired at this point. And well, they may have lost out in the Europa League final to Crystal Palace, but it is Real Madrid top of La Liga, 10 points clear of their rivals Barcelona, so they will at least be lifting the La Liga trophy this year. Do you know what? We've also got our final month's worth of scouting before we head into the full season roundup, looking at the squad, because we sent them out quite late. I'm not really sure if anyone's going to make it, because they do have to be very, very good at this stage if they are going to make the cut. Although saying that, David Coles, after just 1 month, does look very decent. Should I give him a pro deal? I quite like the look of him. 800 grand valuation. Let's chuck him in for now. And I think the rest of these guys are going to be turned away. Although I do quite like the look of Alfie Massey. We'll chuck him in there for now. Yeah, it's really difficult because you do get a lot of players who look like they could be decent. Aaron O'Connor here with quite a high market valuation, but Kyle Armstrong looks decent. I'm just not sure about the overall. same as Rory McLaughlin as well, but the overall so low. It's going to take him such a long time to reach that potential. I think I'm going to give Aaron O'Connor a deal, and as for the rest of these guys from Northern Ireland, they will be turned away. And from the United States, we've not had a huge amount of luck this year, but we may have found a gem in the final month's worth of scouting. 2.6 market valuation. 80 to 94 potential, so we'll give Jacob a scholarship. And as for the rest of these guys, again, a couple of decent looking players, the likes of Cooper and Taylor, but the rest of these guys are going to be turned away. So a look at the academy here. Obviously, a few of the guys did get scholarships, and I have to say Jacob Thompson as a centre-back looks very solid indeed. I might look to loan him out at the beginning of next season because he looks absolutely incredible. Let's get the weak foot up to 5 just to max him out, and then we'll work on that pace. But he looks very solid. Liam Boyle, the Northern Irish goalkeeper, also looking very decent, but still only 15. And a couple of other decent players. Samuel Miller looks pretty good as a wide player, but we've got so many of them now. And the guys at the bottom here, they're just so lowly rated. I don't see them ever being able to reach their potential. Right, it's time to do our full look at the team. Obviously, we've got a lot of players in here, so I'm going to try and speed it up as much as I can. Freddie Woodman came in January. Just 5 appearances for him, all coming in the cup. But he did keep 3 clean sheets in those 5 games. And as a backup to the main man, Dean Henderson, I do quite like him being homegrown and trained at the club. But Dean himself, 19 clean sheets in 38 in the Premier League, 8 in 13 in the Europa League. So a very solid season for Dean Henderson. Wouldn't be surprised if there is interest for him now with 2 golden gloves in the last 2 seasons. We've got a couple of keepers out on loan who are all developing pretty nice. I'm trying to get this guy Victor Walker out on loan, but I think what I'm actually going to do is just add him to the transfer list, or do you know what, actually I'm just going to release him. He's going to bring no money in, so Walker releases. We've already got more than enough good keepers. Tariq Mitchell, very solid season. Another of those players who's homegrown and trained at the club. Doesn't offer as much going forward as someone like Kadioglu on the other side, but it does bring us quite a lot of balance having Tariq Mitchell, who's a bit more defensive. Played 29 of our 38 Premier League games and picked up 1 assist as well in a very solid second season. Our centre-backs were all absolutely superb this campaign. Mark Gurhey, the captain, I think now that he's said that he's staying in real life, I'm probably going to offer him a new deal right at the beginning of next season. In fact, I might even do it at the end of the episode to offer Mark Gurhey a contract, because I do want to keep him here as he is a club captain. Did have an injury which kept him out of the beginning of the campaign, so just 20 appearances in the league. But he is our leader, he is our captain, and he's absolutely solid. As for Dan Ballard, great campaign for the Northern Irishman. Kind of stepped in with Joachim Andersen leaving the club on deadline day, and he was fantastic. Grew 5 ratings up to 81 overall and played 30 of our 38 league games. Chris Richards is a great cover, a great sort of backup centre back. Always feeling confident when he can step in, and because he's quick, he can play either on the right or left hand side of that defence, and I feel confident in his ability. Mengi was pretty solid as, again, just a squad player. Brought in the summer, made 25 appearances spread across all competitions, and he's just a solid option when needed to be called upon. But William Pacho, great bit of business bringing him in from Frankfurt on deadline day after the sale of Anderson. Played 33 of our 38 league appearances and notched up 2 goals as well. Grew 4 ratings up to 83, and he is a great piece of our back 3 on that left-hand side. Quick note on Samuel Orozco. He looks pretty decent. He's got another year on his loan at Sheffield United, up 6 to 72. and looks like one to keep an eye on in the future. Joel Ward is retiring, just 2 appearances for him this season, one of those being his send-off in the Premier League. Nathaniel Klein, also likely to leave. His contract is up in just a few weeks' time, and I think I'm going to let him walk. But Kadioglu and Milan on that right-hand side, very, very solid. Kadioglu, what a signing he has been. 2 goals and 6 assists, of course, one of those coming in that Europa League final. He's absolutely rapid. He's got great end product, and I love him down that right-hand side. And Milan was a great little pickup in January after we sold Munoz to Tottenham. 19 appearances in all competitions, grew a rating to 79, and really solid as he can play on both sides of the pitch as well. I really like that signing from Coventry in January. Remo Freuler, we discussed him a couple of episodes ago when we gave him that new contract. He is now 33 years of age, but he is here until the end of next season. Really, really solid pickup, and I really like playing with him in the heart of this midfield. He may not be the fanciest or the prettiest player, but he's just solid. He is starting to decrease in his stats pretty rapidly, so I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see quite a big decrease in his rating next year. But I really, really like this man. Look at the average ratings across all competitions. He was absolutely solid, scoring 1 goal in the Europa League, a big one as well against Ajax, and notching up 5 assists as well. As for Will Hughes, I think this might have been his last season at the club. I do like to keep like a couple of veterans, but now 30 years of age, 75 overall, not getting any better or any younger, and I do have a target in mind to replace him. He's actually pretty decent when he does step in, so I might potentially keep him for next season. I'm not sure yet. He's only got 2 years left on his contract. I haven't quite made my mind up on Will Hughes yet. Jefferson Lerma probably ended up being our most important midfielder this year with the injuries we had to Doucouré and Wharton, Ozo and Will Hughes, playing 39 games in all competitions. 2 goals and 2 assists in that time as well, and a couple of big goals in the Europa League as well, but just really solid at breaking things up in that midfield. And of course, he's normally kind of back up to Doucouré, but with the injury to Cheick Doucouré still out for the next 4 months, I do think having Jefferson Lerma as someone who can step in, he was absolutely fantastic. As I mentioned with Doucouré, of course, contract is up at the end of next season, and he's got that ACL injury that's ruled him out. He has already dropped 1 rating, and I think there would have been big interest for him in the summer. But of course, he's now not going to be able to complete a move as he wouldn't pass a medical anywhere. But really solid when he did play. He played pretty much all of our games before he went down injured in the Premier League, notching up 2 goals and 5 assists as well with a really high average rating. As a holding midfielder, I could not ask for more. And Adam Wharton partners him really, really nicely. They complement each other in that midfield. Wharton obviously went down as well. I think in the summer I'm going to give him a new deal as he's only on 15 grand a week, and that will hopefully ward off some interest as he's a little bit unhappy at the moment. But yeah, really good season for Wharton. 1 goal, 9 assists, and he was just shy of winning the assist title in the Premier League. And David Ozo, again, didn't play a huge amount, more in the cups and off the bench, but pretty solid for him. Grew 3 ratings up to 68 overall. I might potentially look to loan him out next year, as I don't know how much football he's going to get, but I do really like him as a young academy prospect. A couple of other players out on loan here, Boateng and Rodney. Wilfried Zaha obviously re-signed in the summer, and it was a pretty solid return for him. He's 32, so he's starting to decrease down to 80 overall, but I still really like him. And 9 goals and 7 assists for Wilfried Zaha on his return. Spread those games and the goals across different competitions, and just a solid option to have. Jeff Schlupp's another one that's leaving at the beginning of next season, joining Southampton when the transfer window opens. We knew that already. did actually feature a reasonable amount, either down that left-hand side or in centre-mid towards the end of the season when we had those injuries. 1 goal and 2 assists, not too bad of a return. And he is pretty solid, but now 32, I think it's the right time to let him go, as we'll look to bring in someone with a little bit more quality. A few more players out on loan. Charlton up 11 at Peterborough. Great growth for him. Shane Maxwell, I'm going to add him to the loan list. Made that 1 appearance at the end of the Premier League season, picked up an assist and a clean sheet, and absolutely ran things from midfield, so looking to get him out on loan. As for Daichi Kamada, a bit of a tough first season for him at the beginning of the campaign, but actually when we dropped him a little bit deeper as one of the 2 midfielders, he scored 2 of his 3 goals from that deeper position. He did pick up 7 assists in all competitions, and he was pretty handy in our Europa League run. So yeah, pretty solid season for Daichi in his first in the Premier League, but he couldn't replace this man, Ebere Eze. What a season for the Englishman, and I do think there will be big interest in him in the summer. Only 2 years left on his deal, and like with Michael Elise, we could cash in and make some big money. He has actually supposedly stopped growing, but I mean, what a season. 14 goals and 5 assists in the Premier League. He really brought his goal scoring game up this season. 13 and 32 is a fantastic return, and as I say, I do think there'll be big interest in the summer. We've got a few more players out on loan. França went in January and grew a couple of ratings up to 76. We've got Nathan Holden up to 70. Duff up 9 to 69, and Zachary Hurst, who was out at Brentford this season, grew pretty nicely up to 76. Might look to keep him here for the new season as a squad player, as I do like the look of him and he looks pretty decent. Morgan Fry, another player out on loan. I think he's got another year at the Hawthorns. Yes, he does. So hopefully we'll continue to see some growth on him. Jordan Ayew is retiring at the end of the season. Nice to see him retiring at the club, as he's been here for a while. Didn't really play much, just 7 appearances. Did pick up 3 assists in 4 in the Premier League, but he's down to 68 overall. He's lost any pace that he did have, and it's definitely time to hang them up. As for Raksaki, he played slightly deeper for me as sort of a right midfielder, or sort of as one of the wing backs if we were chasing games this year. Just the 1 goal and 4 assists. Did grow up to 76 overall, and I will keep him here for next year as a decent squad player. Malcolm up just 1 at Everton out on loan. Ian Mackay and Paul are both going to be added to the loan list. They both featured in our final game of the season in the Premier League at home to Brentford. Morgan Whittaker, decent season for him, just 3 goals and 5 assists, but a lot of those appearances do come off the bench for him. He doesn't start many unless it's in the Cup or the Europa League, but did have some decent average ratings in those competitions. You can see in the Cups and the European competition did really well, and 3 goals and 5 assists is not a terrible return. But as for this man, the third part of our front 3, Matthias Sule, up 5 to 84. What a fantastic campaign. 7 goals and 8 assists in the Premier League. And coming in off that right-hand side onto his left foot, he was the perfect replacement for Michael Elise. What a signing in the summer he turned out to be. And as for our forwards, all really good goal-scoring campaigns for them. Haji Wright was brought in as kind of our third choice striker, and he notched up 8 goals and 3 assists, which is a really good return considering most of his appearances were coming off the bench late on, either in Europe or the league. So a fantastic first season for Haji Wright. As for Odsonne Edouard, again, really solid season. 16 goals in 32 appearances in all competitions, spread across those different competitions that we've played in. 2 assists as well, and I always know I can rely on Odsonne Edouard as a decent backup. But it was Jean-Philippe Mateta, the main man. 21 goals and 9 assists in the Premier League. I really do think that surely there has to be some big interest in him in the summer. I guess we will wait and see. He is one of those players with just a year left on his contract. We got a couple of other players out on loan who are starting to grow, but that will pretty much do it, guys. As you can see here, the players who are leaving at the end of this season, we've got quite a few with just a year left on their contracts heading into next season, which we are going to have to sort out. But I'll catch you for the next episode very soon, guys. That is where we're going to leave it for now. Crystal Palace Europa League winners and heading into the Champions League for Season 3. I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a big summer transfer window coming up. And I'm hoping now that we've won our first piece of silverware, maybe we can go all the way and challenge Manchester City for the Premier League title. We'll have to wait and see, but I will catch you in the next one for the beginning of Season 3, guys. I hope you have enjoyed today, and peace.